The BMW 3 Series is the best-selling and most successful compact luxury sports sedan in the world. So it's no surprise to me that with such great success, BMW is looking to expand the four-door 3 Series family, which they did back in 2015 when they introduced the 4 Series Gran Coupe. Now this model has been a pretty big success for BMW, which is why it's back for 2022 completely redesigned. I've already had a chance to drive this car out in California, and I also spent some time in the base 430i a couple months ago. However, this week BMW has sent me the top dog performer of the Gran Coupe family. This is a 2022 M440i Gran Coupe, and what that means is you have a 3-liter turbocharged straight six making nearly 400 horsepower and standard all-wheel drive. So if you guys must have a compact German luxury sports sedan and you don't want the 3 Series that your neighbor has, how does the latest 2022 M440i Gran Coupe stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before I remind you guys what this car looks like on the outside, let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain underneath the hood here. Now, as typical BMW, the top engine is a beautiful straight six, which currently this one here is also electrified, which was a new addition when they introduced this all-new 4 Series Gran Coupe. So if you guys are familiar with BMW products, you're gonna know this is the familiar B58 3-liter turbocharged. It's a single turbo twin scroll design, straight 6-cylinder engine augmented by a 48-volt mild hybrid system. In this car, it makes 382 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. Very impressive numbers and a healthy increase over the 2-liter turbo that you find in the base 430i Gran Coupe. It all goes out through a one-choice 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, and like I said earlier, their xDrive all-wheel drive system is standard on the 6-cylinder model. Fuel economy is rated at 22 in the city, 29 on the highway. Premium gas is required. This has roughly a 15.5-gallon gas tank. It was showing about 430 miles on a full tank when BMW delivered this car to my house earlier this week. Now, in terms of performance, BMW says this model should get to 60 in 4.4 seconds. That's likely conservative. We'll test it out with our actual 0 to 60 equipment. This car also has a top speed of around 155 miles an hour, and the Gran Coupe is relatively heavy. It weighs in at just over 4,000 pounds, so it's a couple hundred pounds heavier versus a 3 Series sedan. But let's go ahead and shut the hood. This particular color is called San Remo Green. It's a really bright, or it's really dark, a dark green exterior color. It looks fantastic in the M Sport package. This one is lacking the shadow line, extended shadow line trim, so it has, instead of black accents in the grille and the side mirrors, it has kind of like this dark chrome look to it where it's like a matte finish. Let me know what you guys think of this color. It's one of my favorites, but it is a little bit dark. When the sun hits it, it really shows off more of the green color, but it looks kind of black in this, muted light. You can see the headlights. Full LEDs are going to be standard. This one is lacking the Icon adaptive LEDs, but you do have an LED daytime running light, LED turn signals. There are some functional vents here. This one helps to create an air curtain over the wheels and to cool the brakes. The large twin kidneys, you can see, when they first introduced this, people really didn't like them. There are still a few of you that hate them. I have to admit, it is starting to grow on me. You can see it also includes active grille shutters. They're shut now, but they open when it requires the cooling. There's the radar sensor for the adaptive cruise control. They could have better integrated this. However, they had to make sure there was space for a license plate, so that's why it's down there. You can see there's the front camera. You can also change out the BMW logo to an M-style logo if you'd like. And overall, the 4 Series Gran Coupe, I think, wears the lines of the new 4 Series the best on the four-door versus the coupe or the convertible, but let me know in the comments below what you guys think. There's also an electric version of this car called the i4, which you guys haven't seen that. I've already done a review on that, so be sure to click in the link in the description below to watch the electric version of this car. Now, looking at the wheels, these are the 19-inch wheels that come standard on the M440i. You can see they're wrapped in 245/40 R19 with tires. I like how it kind of has like a bicolor design with the black inner spokes, the machine look. It's got these beautiful red painted calipers with these massive rotors. These are Pirelli P0 summer tires. The car itself comes standard with 4-wheel adaptive suspension, and it has roughly 5.5 inches of ground clearance. But you can see here, compared to the previous generation, this car grew significantly by 6 inches. Its overall length is 188.5 inches long. It really has a beautiful, sleek appearance to it, especially when you look at the silhouette of the car where it has that sloping roofline. You can see the side mirrors have kind of like that same satin look to it instead of the black. You have a standard sunroof. BMW does not offer a pano roof, and you can see the door handles. They kind of pull up when you want to open the door. They are a little bit hard to grab at times. So if you're in a hurry, you might actually slip and lose grip of the door handle. But looking at the back, you can see the taillights look pretty nice. The car keeps locking and unlocking because I have the key set to do that. When it senses the proximity key, it locks and unlocks the car. You can see I love the rear taillight design. It's not really controversial, but it looks great with the design there with the full LED taillights. You can see badging, xDrive M440i. I also like how it's a satin look to the badge. The exhaust tips, you can see they're kind of rectangular in the M440i versus the oval outlets in the 430i. The exhaust sounds pretty good. This engine actually makes a nice noise, so let's go ahead and rev it up so you guys can hear what it sounds like. Definitely going to miss that sound when BMW starts to go completely all electric, which they're already doing with the i4. Now, opening up the cargo area, you can see it's got a hatchback design, although it looks like a sedan. And because of the hatchback design, you get way more practicality versus a 3 Series sedan. Around 12 cubic feet of space with the seats up. You can see there is no underfloor storage, or actually, I'm sorry, yes, there is, but I can't really grab this very well. You can see, actually, no. The battery is back here. Unlike in the i4, where it does give you some underfloor storage, you can see 2 storage cubbies to the side. Those seats do fold down. When you fold down those seats, it actually expands the cargo out to around 45 cubic feet of space. So that's obviously less than an SUV, but it's obviously going to be a lot more versus a traditional sedan. Looking at the inside of the 2022 BMW M440i Gran Coupe, I want to show you guys, first of all, the key fob. You can see here's the current BMW fob. It's got their intelligent access key. You can also use a digital key or your phone as a key if you have access to the actual BMW app. But regardless, keep the key fob in your pocket. You can see when you want to lock the door, there's a little sensor here that locks the door. I've also set the mirrors to electrically fold in. Touch the back of that, that'll unlock the door. You can see my tester has a really beautiful color combination, the San Remo green with the beige interior. This is the standard Sensatec interior. It's not the full real leather interior that you can get for an extra $1,500, but you can see it looks great with the dark green with the two-tone look. And for a fake leather, I have to say the Sensatec is a really nice option. You're probably noticing, why the hell does this luxury sedan have manual seats? Well, that's because of the chip shortage. BMW took away the power seats, and they also gave you back $1,000 on the MSRP on the window sticker to credit you back that for the lack of power seats, which means you don't have memory seats. The seats, however, are heated. If you're looking for cooled seats, it's pretty damn hot out here right now. BMW sadly doesn't offer cooled seats on the 4 Series Gran Coupe, which is very, very annoying. But getting inside, you can see the step-in height. It's typical sedan. It's kind of low. As I get in and shut the door has a nice solid sounding thunk. It's built off of the same architecture as the 3 Series. Starting the vehicle up, you can see start-stop button is right here by the shifter. The vehicle doesn't have a traditional starter noise because this car has the mild hybrid system, the 48-volt mild hybrid system. So the starter's been replaced by that 48-volt mechanism. So the engine kind of just whirs to life, and when it starts up, it's pretty quiet until you put it into the sport mode, where it makes a pretty nice noise, although it's not quite as loud as some other BMW products. I would have actually liked them to make it a tad more noise, just to go with the fact that this is the 6-cylinder engine. But let's look at the interior materials. Sorry about that, it's really hot outside here. Looking at the door panel, you can see it's a soft touch injection molded plastic. There's some aluminum trim. Really nice ambient lighting along the door panel and the lower part of the dash. It's padded over here. Remember, this is just the Sensatec interior. It's the fake leather. Window controls feel high quality. It's one touch for all 4. You have power folding mirrors. And then my tester has the Harman Kardon stereo for $900. It's a steal. It sounds fantastic. Really, for you audiophiles out there, you may want to go and check that option. The steering wheel, you can see it's a nice thick rim design. It's a small diameter, which is good. You have paddles on the wheel. It's a manual tilt and telescoping design. It's a heated steering wheel as well. My tester also has the driver assistance professional package, so you have all your touch controls here, which are actual buttons for the driver assistance. The horn sounds good, although it sounds a little different than the i4. The i4 had a different tone to the horn. The instrument panel you can see here, this is their live cockpit professional. It's a 12-inch display here. This screen is slightly customizable, but I have to say the newer iDrive 8 looks better, how it's a big wall of screens instead of two separate screens, although it's still two separate screens in the iDrive 8, but it's just better integrated. My tester also has the Sensitech dashboard where it has the faux leather with the stitching on the actual dash. There's also a heads-up display here, which is nice, but it is their older technology, and you can see down here there is really nice dark wood grain, more of that aluminum trim. Actual buttons for the climate control, which is a nice change versus the newer iDrive 8, and you have a volume knob over here and then some of your presets. The screen itself, for an older system, it's still pretty quick and snappy and responsive. Again, it's just looking a little bit small from the unused real estate where they've gotten rid of that in the newer system. You can see here's the embedded factory GPS. It's perfectly fine, nothing super crazy, but you can see here going to all your settings, the color here of the picture of the car actually matches the car, which I'm really happy to see, although the wheels are slightly different. But again, this is a nice little detail that BMW tends to be pretty good at. Over here you can see there's a wireless phone charging pad, 2 cup holders, more wood trim. If I put the vehicle into reverse, you can see it does have BMW's full 360 camera. This one here has the parking tech package for like an extra $700, I think. It also has the backup assistant, which is also really great for those of you who aren't really great at parking. Over here you can see electronic parking brake. You have your drive mode selector. There's 4 modes, including an individual mode and an adaptive mode. Push this button, you can see it doesn't really show much in the instrument panel, although I believe it shows a change right there as well, where again it shows you the actual car, so that's a really nice touch. This is a padded armrest over here. Decent storage. There's a USB-C charging port, another USB-A charging port over here. The seats are pretty comfortable and supportive. The headrest also comes forward and back as well as going up and down. Just wish they were cooled. And again, you don't necessarily need to go for the real leather for $1,500. The fake leather here, the Sensitech, is actually a really great material as well, which is nice. Open the glove compartment, you can see it's a bin style, it's stamped and it's lined with felt. The rearview mirror here you can see is pretty standard stuff, it's auto dimming, and then you do have a sunroof here, which is not a full panel roof, but it's also bigger than a standard sunroof. The roof also opens up, which is nice. You can also tilt it. There's kind of a woven material for the headliner, and then you have LED map lighting above you as well. So overall, the interior is pretty identical to the 2022 3 Series, but just know for 2023, the 3 Series got the new screen. I suspect this car will get the new iDrive 8.0 for the 2023 model year as well. The back seat of the M440i Gran Coupe is also way more practical versus the 2-door or the convertible, but you should know this actually has a little bit less legroom than the 3 Series sedan, but BMW says you get around 35 inches of legroom back here, which is about an inch more versus what you get in the 2-door coupe and the i4. Now getting back here, you can see at 5'7", there is a good amount of legroom here, a good foot space underneath here. The seats have a nice sculpted look where they aren't jamming into your knees. You can see the materials here are soft touch. They're kind of carried over from the front into the back. You do have rear seat air vents, which is great. Large center drive shaft hump here. So if you have a middle passenger, they will be cramped. You have 2 USB-C charging ports. No heated rear seats though. That would have been nice to have. And over here, you can see fold this down. There's an armrest that folds down, gives you 2 cup holders. You can also fold these seats down. You have these adjustable headrests. You have LED map lighting back here. So overall, the back seat obviously isn't the roomiest, but it is the most practical of the 4 Series family. So if you actually have to carry, people back here, as long as they're average size, you can do it in the Gran Coupe model. So here we are back in the 4 Series Gran Coupe, more specifically the M440i, which is the highest performance variant you can get of the 4 Series Gran Coupe. There is no M4 Gran Coupe, and BMW did that because they wanted to, I guess, protect the M3 sedan. And the last time I drove this particular model, it was last year when I was in thermal. Had a chance to spend a full week with the 430i Gran Coupe, the base engine, and the new i4. So this is going to be a really nice middle ground between those 2 vehicles. And I have to say, impressions are still pretty positive. My favorite vehicle in this segment is the Audi S5 Sportback. So I got 4.3 seconds 0 to 60 in the Audi, 5.8 I got in the 430i Gran Coupe. So let's go ahead and see what we can get in this M440i Gran Coupe in our testing. We'll go ahead and put it into Sport Plus, launch control, active. That's fast. Oh yeah. Wow, 4.19 seconds, so 4.2 seconds. That makes it about a smidge, literally 0.1 seconds faster versus the Audi S5 Sportback, which I tested on that same stretch of road at 4.3 seconds. So BMW claims 4.4, typical German. They are conservative with that number, and this car feels quick. I mean, 382 horsepower doesn't seem like a lot on paper in today's world where we have like 500 plus horsepower from like regular like SUV electric thingies. But I have to say, this car has a really good feel to it. The current generation 3 Series, this cluster architecture, is a really great platform, and it really shines when you have it paired with the straight 6. But let's go ahead and try it one more time here. Launch control again. Ooh. Oh man, those shifts from the 8-speed are great. 4.37 seconds there. That's with it going slightly uphill. So this car is quick. I mean, it is quicker versus the one that I drove up in Thermal when I tried to test it there. I think the best I got was 4.5. So it's always good for me to retest vehicles back in my home area where the weather is going to be, you know, a good indication. You know, right now it's about 84 degrees, it's dry outside, it's cloudy, but these are perfect conditions really. It is a little bit muggy out here, but the turbo engine is producing all the power right now. And this car just has a really great balanced feel to it. The steering is quick and sharp, just doesn't really offer much in terms of feedback. But put my foot down here, you can feel e-boost. This car, it does have the mild hybrid assist. So that mild hybrid assist, the 48 volt system, will add like another 11 horsepower when you're demanding maximum thrust. Now, I don't really notice much of it when I'm driving the car. It just shows it in the display for e-boost, giving that extra little punch. And the 8-speed auto is a ZF automatic. It's a really great partner. It's the same ZF that's in the Audi S5 Sportback, but in the Beamer, it's tuned a little bit better, I think. It's all software tuning where the transmission just really knows to be in the right gear. Pull the paddle here, you can feel it also will rev match on your downshifts. Go into first there. Oh, and it makes a nice little burble and pop from the exhaust, although it could be louder. I've driven this same powertrain in the Toyota Supra, and I have to say the Toyota is even louder, and I love the feel of that car even more than this. But put your foot down here. The xDrive all-wheel drive system will try to send more power to the back, but it doesn't really do much in terms of sending the back to step out. You just get confident control, lots of grip, a sure-footed feel, no wheel spin essentially, and in all weather conditions, you're gonna really love this powertrain combination with the all-wheel drive. I like how BMW makes this powertrain, the 6-cylinder, standard with all-wheel drive. If you want a rear drive version of this, you can actually get it in the 4 Series Coupe, but on the Gran Coupe, it only comes with xDrive all-wheel drive, which I kind of think is a good thing. The all-wheel drive system adds like 200 pounds, but it doesn't really sacrifice anything in terms of acceleration. This is insanely quick. I mean, there was a time where 4.2 seconds was the 0 to 60 time of an M3. There's a little bit of wheel spin. God, that is good. That is really good. Plenty of performance, a good ride quality as well. This car has the adaptive variable sport suspension, and right now it's in its stiffest setting, and I could daily drive it in this setting. It's really comfortable, but if you want, you can put it into comfort here and then put the transmission into drive. You'll hear the engine gets a little bit quieter because it's got an augmented noise. The tack also disappears when you put it into comfort. Wow, when it really upshifts into its top gear, it almost gives you almost like an electric motor smoothness. I mean, I have driven the i4, basically the electric version of this car, and I have to say without a doubt that is my favorite in terms of a daily driver. You do feel the extra weight in the i4, but in this car, it just has a nice 50-50 weight distribution. It doesn't feel too heavy. The i4 is a crazy 1,000 pounds heavier than this exact car. Visibility is also good. You have this long hood that you have to look by because of that straight 6. Thinner pillars here. The view out of the back, however, that window is very curved and small, so that does take up some of your space. I like the M-style side mirrors. My tester has the driver assistance professional package, so it has the traffic jam assist, the lane keep assist, the lane change assist, blind spot monitoring, or cross traffic alert. That's $1,700 extra, and you're honestly going to want it when you're driving around or in congested traffic areas. It's definitely a nice addition. But overall, the seats in this model here, these are the standard Sensitech non-leather, so this is a fake leather, and then the manual seat definitely is a huge disappointment for me, although it's part of the whole chip shortage, the ongoing chip shortage, is why it doesn't have power seats. But the seats are pretty comfortable. Sad that they are not cooled seats. Would really like them to be cooled. BMW does not offer cooled seats on the 4 Series Gran Coupe, unfortunately. So if you guys are looking for that option, you're gonna have to step it up to something else. But overall, I mean, in comfort right now, it reminds you you're driving a luxury car. It has a really great ride quality, good visibility, really quiet interior, and then it's fast as hell when you put this thing in Sport and Sport Plus. So it's the ultimate daily driver. It's a really wonderful sports sedan. I'm just not entirely sure that I would choose this over the Audi S5 Sportback. I think the Audi, for me, it really just comes down to feel. I think I like the way the Audi looks a little bit more. And I also think the i4 looks better than this with the closed off grille. But overall, versus this and a 3 Series sedan, I would definitely choose the M440i Gran Coupe just because you get that extra practicality of that hatch. So although sales of the current generation 3 Series has definitely been falling over the years, that's because everybody in America and across the world are buying X3s instead, I have to say I'm really impressed with the latest generation of the 4 Series, especially the Gran Coupe. The Gran Coupe model obviously isn't quite as practical as a 3 Series sedan. You actually have a little bit less legroom in the back, but with that additional trunk space and sexier looks, this car looks like a coupe from straight onward at the rear end. And I also love the powertrain options. The base 4 Series actually has a pretty decent 2-liter turbo. However, for those of you as an enthusiast, you're going to want the straight 6. I mean, 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds is just territory that used to be reserved for an M3. Nowadays, the M3 is like 3.5 seconds. Remember, if you guys want something even faster, the i4, the electric version of this car, gets to 60 in just 3.3 seconds. So again, amazing performance, amazing handling, very nice interior, although I would probably wait for the 2023 version of this car where they'll update it to the iDrive 8.0. The iDrive 7.0 works fine. At least it has wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. However, once you've tried out the new version with the bigger screen, this is starting to look a little bit dated. Obviously, the back seat is a little bit small, but it's still more practical versus the 2-door version of this car. And even though BMW has probably way too many models, I think this is definitely the sweet spot. It's the perfect middle ground for those of you who are looking at an M3 or an M340i. And you want all-wheel drive, but you don't want to go up to, the near 6-figure price tag of the M3. This car here is actually the cheapest version of the 4 Series. The 4-door model is the cheapest 4 Series. It's cheaper versus the 2-door coupe and the convertible. Obviously, this car starts at around $45,600 for the base 430i. If you guys want the M440i with all-wheel drive, it's going to cost you at least $58,000. My tester here, with some of the options that it has, the green, the premium package, the upgraded Harman Kardon stereo. This one here with destinations around $66,500. You basically get a $1,000 credit when they deleted the power front seats, which I think is totally inexcusable. Blame the chip shortage apparently for this car lacking power front seats. But again, it is a relatively good price, although if you option in this car fully loaded with all of the options that this one is missing, you could price this car out to be well over 70 grand. That's touching at BMW M3 territory. And if you guys want to spend an extra 10 grand versus this car, you can also buy a BMW i4, which will include the $7,500 federal tax credit, which is again not available on this car because it's gas. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2022 BMW M440i Gran Coupe. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook. And as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.